let them in. Everybody, welcome to tonight's cocktail virtual cooking class. I'm just going to give everybody a couple of minutes just to filter on in. There we go. It's nice and early for a Wednesday. We'll be able to start drinking early. Little cocktail before dinner. Right, so before we get started, we'll just do a bit of housekeeping. Bottom left-hand corner, there's a mute button. It's a good idea to keep yourself on mute because what happens is whoever is talking goes in a big box in the middle of the screen, and you don't want it to be you if you are not cooking. So keep yourself on mute. There is a chat box though down the bottom. And if you have a question or you just have some feedback or you just want to have a little bit of a chat with us, you can pop some feedback and questions into the chat box. And one of us will be watching the chat box. And the more we interact, the better this class is actually going to be. So let's have a practice. What I'd love to know in the chat box is I'd love to know where in the country you are coming from. And I would love to know, do you have a TM6? Do you have a TM5? Do you have a TM31? Or do you not have a TM or any Thermomix yet? So that's what I'd love to know. And while everybody's popping that in the chat box, I'll just get my dogs to be quiet because my husband's supposed to be downstairs, making sure they don't bark. But anyway, love this business because we can work it around our families and our dogs. So the other thing I'll tell you, there's a view button in your top right-hand corner. You can toggle between speaker view and gallery view. For classes like this, it's best to be on speaker view because then you will see the person who is cooking. So let's get going, guys. We've got a few really cool recipes for you this evening. A little bit of stuff that's on Cookie-Doo and then some things that you probably haven't seen before. And so we're going to be making 2 of the components of the cocktails, and then we're going to be using those components to make the actual cocktails. And then we have a special cocktail from Cookie-Doo as well. So a little bit of everything tonight. And we're just going to get cooking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move over to my other screen. I'm going to mute myself, and I'm going to tell you what I'm making tonight. There you go. Here I am. And what I might actually do is I'm actually going to make sure that I am in a big box for you and you can see me. I am going to be making this evening the hazelnut chocolate spread. There you go. Hazelnut chocolate spread. This is a Cookie-Doo recipe. And there are actually a couple of hazelnut chocolate spread recipes on Cookie-Doo. And this is the one that goes down the best with my children. So they're a bit fussy. They like having real chocolate in the chocolate spread. And so this is the one they love. You are going to need roasted hazelnuts for this recipe. So I did post a little reel on my socials earlier today, letting you know how you can make that. Basically, you just take some hazelnuts, you pop them onto a baking tray for 10 minutes in the oven at 180 degrees. Take them out, let them cool down, and then you pop them into a clean tea towel and you actually just give them a little rub and the skins will pop right off. And that's how you end up with roasted hazelnuts. So we're going to start cooking. And it says 50 to 90 grams of sugar. So I find with the Cookie-Doo recipes that I don't need all the sugar. I find they're very sweet. And so we always go the lower end of the sugar. Sometimes we even go a little bit less than the lower end. And so what we're going to do is we're going to pop that 50 grams in and I'm going to pop on the lid. And what we're doing is we are making icing sugar. So we are going all the way to speed 9 for 10 seconds. There you go. So this is the point where we are going to add our hazelnut. So I'll show you what that looks like. There you go, icing sugar. It's like magic. I always joke when you have this puff of icing sugar smoke escaping that that's the calories escaping. So I'm going to pop that back on. We need 80 grams of hazelnuts. So those are the ones that I roasted earlier. We can tear the scales. We also need 100 grams of dark chocolate. So I always use the Whittaker's, the dark Ghanaian chocolate. If you wanted to use milk chocolate, down at the bottom of the recipe on Cookie Dough, there are tips and tricks for how you adjust the sugar and the cocoa powder because the ratios will be slightly different, but I'm using dark chocolate. We're also then going to pop the lid back on here and we're going to grate the chocolate. So right the way up to speed 8 for 10 seconds. So chocolate is quite hard and the bowl is also quite hard. So you are going to hear the power of the Thermomix. So listen for that power and then listen to when it changes.
You probably can't quite hear, but if you have a Thermomix, let us know in the chat box if you have used the milling function before and what you've done for it.
Oh, so what did you say, Brydie?
Oh,
I couldn't hear you over the power.
Yeah, I was just saying, has anyone else used the Thermomix to mill things? I was just remembering during lockdown when we all ran out of flour, gluten-free flour included, I started milling my own brown rice and things like that. We've got a few coming through. So nuts, to make nut flour all the time. Yeah, got to be really careful not to turn it into nut butter because it's so powerful, but it's amazing to know that it's nice and fresh.
Definitely.
Nice.
There's no substitute for just milling it yourself, I think, as you need it. Yeah. So that's all blitzed up. So you can see the power of the blades. And we're going to add, it says 30 to 50 grams. I'm going with 30 grams because we're using a really good chocolate. If you wanted to, you could put a little bit more in there. We also need 70 grams of butter. There you go. I've put the butter and the milk in together, so that's why I'm fishing the butter out. There you go. And we need 100 grams of full cream milk. And that's basically it for the hazelnut chocolate spread. We pop the lid on and now we've got 6 minutes of cooking. This is all hands-free. And I reckon I can make hazelnut chocolate spread quicker than I can drive to the countdown to fetch some. So while that's cooking, I'm going to hand you over to Lonnie, and Lonnie is going to be making another base ingredient for you.
Hi, I bet you're all probably wanting to get onto that boozy bunny cocktail now that Odette started making the base for that. But I'll first make an ingredient that's going to go into Paula's cocktail. So Paula tonight is doing the lemon meringue pie cocktail that she's actually created herself. And when we were planning this virtual, I actually said, oh, I'll just make the lemon curd that goes into that, thinking, oh, yep, it's a Wednesday night. I don't really want to be drinking spirits during the week. But now I've got a little bit of FOMO, and I know by the end of this, I'll be wanting to make a cocktail myself. Anyway, lemon curd for the lemon meringue pie cocktail. I have put the keto lemon curd into my week. So you will see here.
What we might do, should we have dinner first and then get the car and then go take
someone not on mute? I'll just mute that. There we go. So I've put the keto lemon curd into my week. I actually chose this one because it makes one jar only. You can make other recipes like the TM6.
Someone
else chatting.
Go back to Claire's the other way.
Mute all. So anyway, you'd normally make the I normally make the TM6 lemon curd, and you can make that in a 600 gram quantity or a 1300 gram quantity. But yeah, the keto lemon curd makes one small jar, and it uses 4 ingredients: a lemon, a couple of eggs, some allulose or whatever sweetener you like to use, and some lemon juice. So it's pretty simple. It's certainly a lot easier than making lemon curd from scratch without a Thermomix. I remember making it myself before having a Thermomix, and I remember getting out a sieve and pushing through the lemon curd, trying to get out bumps and all of that kind of thing, whereas the Thermomix does have a thicken mode, and it is, yeah, perfect for getting that right consistency very quickly and easily. So I'll just hit start cooking here. It's saying to set aside a sterilized jar, and it's saying to place in one lemon zest only. So I've just peeled the zest from that lemon, and the other lemon curd recipes that I make, you don't actually need to do that. So you just use lemon juice only, but I'm just following this recipe today. It's asking for 60 grams of monk fruit sweetener. I'm putting in allulose. Monk fruit sweetener is fine as well, and so is the erythritol stevia blend. Just be careful if you haven't worked with these keto sweeteners before that you do get a monk fruit and erythritol blend sweetener. 60 grams of pure monk fruit would be hideously sweet. It's kind of like stevia. It's, you know, a little bit goes a long way. So 60 grams of sweetener. I will pop in the chat box after this what sweetener I'm using and where I buy it from. I like allulose the best for making things like curds and custards because it doesn't crystallize. So what I'm doing here is I'm turning this up to speed 10, like we were talking about milling before. I'm milling that sweetener for 10 seconds. So yeah, the allulose doesn't crystallize. If you're eating it straight away, no problem at all to use an erythritol or stevia blend sweetener, but it will get sort of little crystals in it after sort of 2 or 3 days of sitting in the fridge. Whereas allulose doesn't, it kind of acts a lot more like sugar, except it doesn't spike your blood sugars like sugar does. So you'll see in there, we've got the icing sugar and the lemon zest. The allulose and the other low carb sweeteners do mill the same as sugar. And in fact, if you're ever using any of those sweeteners in any recipes, if it doesn't tell you to mill them first, I always do. Those of you that are familiar with those sweeteners will know they can be quite gritty, especially in uncooked baking. So it's asking for 40 grams of unsalted butter. I just use salted butter. Unsalted butter is even more expensive. If you want to make it dairy-free, however, just use coconut oil. It works exactly the same way. So it's asking for 1 egg and then 1 egg yolk. So I've just put them both in the same bowl, popping them in. The cool thing about Cookie Dough is that if you've got a leftover egg white, which I now do, I can type egg white into Cookie Dough and it will come up with all of the recipes that will use egg whites. So there's not a lot of wastage around here. 60 grams of freshly squeezed lemon juice. And now I'm going to put the lid on and pop it to speed 4 for 4 minutes. So that's another thing about this particular recipe. It's a 4-minute recipe. That's really no time at all when you're making fresh lemon curd. The other recipes will take around 10 minutes, and that's purely just because of quantity. And the Thermomix uses the thicken mode to know when it does get to that right custardy sort of consistency. So yeah, some of the other curds that I make, the berry curd is delicious, especially at Christmas time. If you've got some berries, it uses berries and limes, but you could use berries and lemons. It's delicious. Yeah, do lots of different curds for different reasons, but this is the first time I've ever seen it in a cocktail, so I'm super excited. Back to Odette, I think. Should we go and see your hazelnut butter, Odette?
Yeah, so I've got 1 second left. That's pretty amazing. And what I'm quickly going to do, though, is I'm going to bring me in to the spotlight. Here we go. Love being in the spotlight, you know me. That is basically our lemon curd. I mean, our lemon curd. I've got lemon curd on the brain because I'm watching you, Lonnie. That's basically our hazelnut chocolate spread done. So that was 6 minutes. Let me show you what it looks like. And somebody was asking, is it the same as the store-bought stuff? It absolutely is. My kids, if I hide it in a Nutella jar, they don't know. I mean, obviously, if they know I've made it, then they'll pull their noses up sometimes. But yeah, it's amazing. You can sandwich cookies together with it. You can make the hazelnut chocolate brioche wreath on Cookie Dough. That's amazing. It's a real showstopper for Easter. Obviously, you can make the Boozy Bunny cocktail. You can just pop it on toast. It's really, really versatile. And even though it does have a little bit of sugar and some chocolate and some butter in it, it's definitely superior health-wise to the Nutella that you actually get at the shops. There's no palm oil in it, and you definitely will save yourself a lot of money. So handy. So what we're going to do is we're going to start my cocktail, and I've actually uploaded my cocktail to Cookie Dough 3.0, and so you did get a copy of the recipe, or if you haven't got a copy of the recipe yet, please reach out to your consultant and they will send you one. And I'm happy for you to upload it to Cookie Dough 3.0 so you can cook guided on the screen of your Thermomix. I think it's an amazing feature that we have with the TM6 that you can actually upload your own recipes. And so I'm happy for you to do that. This recipe actually starts with you decorating the glasses of that you're going to be popping your cocktail in. So I'm using martini glasses, and you need some of your chocolate hazelnut spread, and you need a teaspoon. And what we're going to be doing is we want to rim the glasses. So you just want a very thin layer. I mean, you don't have to be thin if you want to put lots and lots, that's up to you. But this is what the sprinkles are going to stick to. If you don't have sprinkles or you don't want to use sprinkles, you can also crush maybe some of those little speckled eggs or just some chocolate maybe. You could crush up in your Thermomix and you could use that to rim your glasses. But I like the sprinkles because they're just a little bit fun, and we're all about the fun for Easter.
Yes.
Yeah, so you will also need either a plate, or you can use the base of the mini thermo server. So this is a tiny, I think it's a 500 ml thermo server. And I'm obviously using it to keep my ice cool, because thermo servers keep things hot for 2 hours or cold for an hour. But I'm actually going to be using the base, and I've just popped my sprinkles into the base. This is also good for bliss balls. So when you're rolling your bliss balls, you can pop the coconut or the coating into the base of a thermo server, and it means you can roll them around and you don't end up with sprinkles or coconut or whatever you're using on the floor. And it also works for rimming your margarita glasses. So you can put your salt mixture into the base, and look, a margarita glass fits perfectly, or a martini glass fits perfectly. I feel like it was made for this reason. Feel like, yeah, happy accident. So what you're doing is you're just turning the glass slowly, and as you can see, no sprinkles on the floor, which is always a good thing. There you go. Perfect. Oh, and then you got to make sure that you have them all stuck down. And what you can do afterwards is you can actually just go in with your spoon and just make sure that they're properly stuck on. If you don't, if you're not fussed with having a pretty glass, you can skip this step, but I think it's a little bit fun. So we always do this one. And so what we're going to do now is our glass is ready, and we're going to keep going with our recipe. So I'll just grab another bowl, pop that over here, and this is where we start with our ingredients. So we need 60 grams of vodka. You don't need fancy, expensive vodka when you're making cocktails like this one. So we've got 60 grams. You also need 60 grams of Kahlua, or coffee liqueur. So you can tear, or you can just add another 60 grams on top. So we're going to 120. Oh, a little bit more, that's okay. We need 30 grams of our hazelnut chocolate spread. There you go. The hardest part about making hazelnut chocolate spread is not licking the spatula or the spoon. And we need 60 grams of cream. Perfect. So with Cookie Dough 3.0, what we do is we close down the scale, and then we bring up the blades, and we are going to be mixing for 30 seconds on speed 5.
Awesome. That looks so amazing. Maybe while you're mixing that, Odette, Lonnie, how are you going with your lemon curd?
Brilliant. It finished almost as soon as it started. I haven't taken it out of the bowl yet because I've got my little Easter bunny in my hand, but I'll show you. It's pretty amazing. It's all nice and thick and beautiful. So when I'm able to put my baby down, I'm going to transfer it into a jar. And some of you might not know this, some of you might know this, but if you remove the measuring cup from the mixing bowl lid, you are able to sit that lid on top of your jar and use it as a funnel to put that lemon curd into. So I'm going to do that. And unfortunately, I probably won't turn that into a cocktail tonight, but I'll enjoy that with my breakfast cereal tomorrow morning. A little bit of yogurt.
Awesome. Imagine trying to do that on the stovetop while juggling Lillian.
Impossible.
Right, so, oh, there you go. So I'm trying not to tip it out on the floor. So what's happened is we've just mixed everything up. Next step is to add your ice, and this is where the mini thermo server comes in really handy. So we need 150 grams of ice. And the last step is to mix this for 10 seconds on reverse speed 3. So the reason we're using reverse is we don't want to crush the ice. We just want to, it's the equivalent of holding it in the cocktail shaker and doing this, but this makes your arms really tired. And it's much better if you just touch the Thermomix and go, hey, speed 3, and you just get to relax instead of there you go. This is the point you need to get out your simmering basket. And we're going to use the simmering basket to strain the cocktail through because we don't want the ice in your glass. The ice was just there to chill the cocktail. So what we need to do is pop it in, and you actually do need to hold the simmering basket down with your finger. So there's a little hole here for your thumb. You can also secure it with your hand because you don't want all the ice and everything, the basket and everything, to tip out into your glass. So we're just slowly pouring that into the glass. And then I'm going to rim the other one and do another one. But basically, there you have it. That's the Boozy Bunny. It's delicious. It's addictive, I warn you. But yeah, it's very Eastery, and you know, you can make it all year if you want and call it something else. But yeah, this is definitely one that I'm going to be having on Easter.
Yum, that looks amazing. Thank you, Odette.
You're very welcome. And are we going over to you, Brydie? I'll just spotlight you for a second, shall I?
Thank you. Yep, I'm itching to get cracking into this frozen negroni. Hi everyone, my name's Brydie Morrison. I'm based in sunny Blenheim. It is sunny today despite the snow overnight here, which was a bit crazy during harvest. So I'm doing a frozen negroni. This recipe is just straight from cookie dough, but the one on cookie dough serves 6 people, and we don't have 6 people here tonight. So I'm actually going to scale the recipe. Someone was asking before about what cookie dough 3.0 is. If you have recently purchased a Thermomix, you probably just know it as cookie dough. It's just normal to you that you've got all these extra amazing features. But of course, as Thermodette always says, it's the only machine that gets better as it gets older. So yeah, lots of features that are new since I purchased my machine in 2019. And scaling the recipes and importing your own custom recipes into cookie dough is one of those features that have been added. So I have brought up the frozen negroni on my cookie dough. I clicked the little bar that says the amount of serving sizes, and then I just scaled it, and it has imported it into my own created recipes in the machine. So I've just gone to my menu, gone into my recipes, and then clicked my created recipes, and now I can just use it like a cookie dough recipe. So I just click start cooking, and it has asked me to weigh the orange juice into the mixing bowl and freeze it overnight, which I have done. So I'm actually just going to pop all the things straight into the bowl, and the last step is just simply to blend it. So I've got a thermo server. It's been sitting there nice and cold the whole time we've been chatting. So this is, I've got the oval and the round. They're all host rewards. And the other amazing thing that I think Lonnie might have used today is we've obviously both peeled our citrus with our toolkits. These are available in the mix shop, and despite the peeler being completely lethal, it is literally the most amazing peeler and kitchen tool set you'll ever find. I'll show you my orange peel in a moment. So I just put that in. So massive chunks. I froze it in the bottom of an ice cream container, and Lonnie was asking me why I was breaking it up before, because obviously the Thermomix is powerful enough to do that for me. And I said, yeah, but it does need to fit in the Thermomix to be able to get it in there. So I just cut it up into big chunks. And now I just click next and bring up the scales. It's asking me to weigh in 75 grams of my favourite gin, Roots Gin from down the road. We've had many discussions about this gin before, haven't we, Odette?
I feel like gin is one of those things that you can just never have enough of.
Yeah, definitely worth the investment.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where some cocktails I'm like, just use whatever you have. But with gin, I think it actually pays to use a good gin because then you end up with a really good cocktail.
I think you're so right. I am cheating a wee bit. I didn't want to go and buy like 3 brand new bottles of liquor. So I'm using Pimm's instead of Campari. And
I actually didn't know you could substitute Pimm's for Campari because I keep seeing recipes that I want to make and I'm like, well, that I reckon it's worth a go.
yeah, I don't know if it's the perfect substitute. But
Aperol's a good substitute for Campari because it's still that sort of bitter orange, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
that is a better substitute.
Or maybe even triple sec or contro because it's orangey.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm going to just scale back the move.
I actually have a confession to make. I've never had a Negroni. It's one of those cocktails that I keep seeing and it sounds so fancy, but I've actually never had one. So I'm really looking forward to this.
It's the best cocktail, Odette. That is my favorite, my absolute favorite
I'm
cocktail.
very excited about this.
They're nice and bitter.
Yeah.
Has anyone else not tried a Negroni before?
Talking about gin, Negroni. I'm just going to put my
Any
headphones.
Negroni virgins out there like me?
It's a very boozy drink. It is incredibly delicious. So that is it. We just pop it all in there and I'm going to give it a blend. Oh. Nope. Taking me out of the recipe. I'll just use blend function for 30 seconds. Be right back.
Blend function is actually one of the amazing modes on the TM6. And it sounds like such a simple function. You're like, I can blend whatever I want. But the cool thing about it is that it starts at speed 4 and it slowly increases to speed 8. So, often in a recipe, you'll see starting with speed 5 and then slowly increasing lower. It just takes that whole unknown out of it. And you kind of just turn the button and it does the whole thing for you. So very underrated mode.
I saw you take a sip of your cocktail just then, Odette.
I feel like I'm double parked.
Fantastic.
Maybe I won't send one downstairs to Mr. Thermodette. Maybe this never happened.
Oh my gosh, this looks divine. It's like the perfect slushy consistency, really nice and smooth. I feel like I'm going to make a bit of a mess of it, so I'm going to do Lonnie's trick as well, but over my glasses. So I'll just pop the lid there. And you can't really see how nicely it's coming out, but honestly, it's like silky smooth and it looks absolutely divine. Yeah. Okay, this is definitely going in my repertoire. Look at that perfection.
It looks delicious. It looks like one of those very refreshing cocktails that you could serve on a beautiful summer's afternoon.
There we go. So I just peeled a little bit of citrus, orange zest, and I popped a couple of juniper berries on here, and I'm all set. The next thing
I feel like we should all be in the same place because I feel like we could all be sharing these cocktails rather than, sipping them at different ends of the country.
Yeah,
so
little taster.
Sarah's saying she has never had a Negroni either. So it's not just me. I feel like I'm going to have to do this. Perfect. And so what we're doing now is we're actually going to head over to Paula, and I'm really excited to see this cocktail. This is one of Paula's own creations, and she has actually kindly uploaded it to the recipe community. And so one of us will quickly try find the link for you, and we'll pop it into the chat box. But yeah, I was saying to the girls before we started that I am dying for my lemon tree to actually have some proper ripe lemons, because this is the first thing I'm going to make when it does.
Hi. Yeah, you definitely need to, Odette. It's so good. So I've just brought the recipe up. It's from the recipe community, and you can find it on your creative recipes under your collections. And I'm just going to start cooking. And the first thing we're going to do is make the meringue. So I'm going to use my butterfly whisk, pop that in there, and put in 2 egg whites and 50 grams of it's actually sweetener. So I've got allulose like Lonnie used as well, but if you're not worried about the sugar content, you could use just caster sugar. I actually made one before, I'm going to be honest, and it was a little bit too sweet. So I'm actually going to only put 30 grams in this time. So it's kind of your personal preference. It's not going to make any difference to the recipe. So we'll go, got 34, and then pop the lid on. Out of there, and then it's just going to go on speed 4 at 37 degrees for, I've got to read that, it's a little bit different, for how long? 4 minutes actually. So I just have to dial it up. When you do recipe community recipes, it does come up on your screen a little bit different, so you have to actually pop the amounts in there. So I'm just popping the time in. We've got 4 minutes. Like you do when you manually cook, and then the degrees is 37, and then on speed 4. Always no more than speed 4 with your butterfly whisk.
Hands up if you've chopped up a butterfly whisk. Who's chopped one up? Hands up. I know Sarah Kay has. Yep. They're $25, so it's not the end of the world if you chop it up, but you know.
I think you only do it once.
You only do it once. I did it that when I chopped the butterfly up, it was at my first cooking class as a team leader, and I just didn't realize it was in there, and I tried to chop some vegetables. So yeah. It's gone. So this actually, there's another recipe that some of you may have seen that starts this way. It's one of the recipes that we offer in our cooking experience. So this is how the Fruity Dream starts, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. That's kind of how I got the degree and all that, how much I should have it on. You always like take a little bit from another recipe.
Yeah, and so for those of you who've never had a cooking experience, you know, you can make the Fruity Dream, and it starts like this, and Fruity Dream's amazing, and it's great to, you know, serve to your family. Or if you ask your consultant very, very nicely, they may even let you make something else, like this delicious cocktail that kind of shows off the same functions, right? And so Lonnie was actually saying, Paula, that you've got some other really cool recipes on the recipe community. What are they?
Oh gosh, I can hardly remember actually. I've got a nice strawberry and pistachio slice on there. Some sugar-free Afghans. Most of the recipes that I've put on there are sugar-free. So if you're looking for some sugar-free options, yeah, just message me on social media, and I can send you the links for them if you want. This recipe also has, so it has the lemon curd that Lonnie's already made, and I've made some earlier today, but it also has another recipe which is on cookie dough in here, which is the homemade lemonade. So I made this earlier today. I highly recommend this recipe. It's so easy. You don't have to peel your fruit. It just all goes in whole. And I use allulose again to sweeten the lemonade. Yeah, I've done it with grapefruit as well, and it's really, really good.
If you want to make pink lemonade as well, guys, the tip is just to take some red cabbage, so about 50 grams of red cabbage, uncooked raw red cabbage, and just pop that in when you pop in your lemons, and it just gives it a beautiful pink color, and you actually can't taste the cabbage at all. Or you can use a tiny little bit of beetroot as well, raw beetroot. But yeah, if you want to serve the kids some pink lemonade, that is the way to go. It probably wouldn't work for this cocktail because you want it to be that beautiful lemon meringue.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, Lonnie's telling us as well about your rhubarb sour. I like the idea of that.
Oh yes, that's in the recipe community as well. It's similar to this actually. That's kind of where I got the idea from at first. So I can't decide which one's nicer.
I feel like we'll have to get together and do a little taste off, and I can give you my unbiased opinion.
Definitely. All right, so we're nearly there. Break my iPhone.
So we have some people saying in the chat box that they do have some lemons at their house in their garden. Lots of people saying that they're not ripe. I feel like it's all us Aucklanders. Everybody in the North Island doesn't have ripe lemons. Is it just me? I don't know. I feel like we've missed our summer and our lemons are slow.
I got mine from my neighbour who has a really good tree, but our tree is they're not really pickable yet.
Yeah.
And we're on the same street, so it doesn't make much sense.
Somebody, when I was looking for advice on how to get my lemon and my lime tree to actually be useful and have some fruit, they said apparently you're supposed to get it doesn't have to be your son, but somebody has to pee on it. And I was not volunteering to pee on my lemon tree or my lime tree. So yeah, send a boy child out there.
So that has whipped up the meringue part of the recipe. And then I'm just taking my butterfly whisk out, and then the next step is pretty much to add all the booze. So I'm just going to go forward there. And go with the scales. So we've got 120. This is quite a boozy cocktail, I must admit, but this recipe does make 4. So you'll be, shocked at how much alcohol I'm putting in here, but it's divided by 4, so don't worry too much. I've got Sam here, but I might have to drink 2 tonight. So we've got 120 grams of gin. I've got a nice New Zealand gin as well, not the Roots one. I have tried that. That's very nice. Might be the rest of the bottle. Whoops, a little bit over there, don't worry. And then we've got 80 grams of limoncello. So this actually does have a little bit of sugar in it if you were wanting non-sugar. I have made this before and just left the limoncello out, and it's still quite nice and lemony. So I'm just going to tear that.
Have you had a go at making your own limoncello, Paula?
I have. I think maybe 2 years ago we made some. Sam is a great, he makes heaps of gin actually. I was thinking of you when you said you could never have enough gin. He makes gin a lot. So yeah, I have had a go at limoncello. It was okay. Takes a bit of peeling. I didn't have a Thermomix then, Odette. So I had
Very impressed that you actually had a go without a Thermomix, because I feel like it's not the sort of thing you want to try without a Thermomix.
Yeah, and then we're going to pop in 2 spoons of the lemon curd. So this is the keto lemon curd that Lonnie made. And then the lemonade is 200 grams of lemonade. See that? Oh. I had to stop the kids from drinking this today. I was like, no, I need it for my cocktail. And then you've just got 200 grams of ice. So put that in. Pop the lid on. Get out of there. And then I'm just going to whiz it up for 20 seconds at speed 7. So it's going there. 20 seconds at speed 7. Be a little bit noisy.
A little bit powerful. I feel like you always have to do the dance as if you were shaking the cocktail. Like, So you guys are obviously loving the cocktails that we're making today. We would love to know what your favorite cocktails are, either on Cookie Doo or not on Cookie Doo. So if you have a recipe that you love, please pop it in the chat box, because it means we can save it and then we can go and add to our repertoire. I'm always looking for new recipes to add and to make and to love. Oh,
I actually like letting it sit in the bowl a little bit first, but I'm just going to pour it in now. just because it separates quite nicely and you get like a layer of that meringue froth on top. So it's kind of like a 2-layered.
I always feel
Mhm.
like when you put, egg white in a cocktail, it's pretty much a smoothie, right? I mean, it's like a protein smoothie because it's got egg whites in and lemon for detoxification. So,
It's free pretty much. I actually dried these out in the oven today. I was quite proud of myself because they have worked really well. So I'm just decorating it with a couple of those.
Did you use your cutter to slice those lemons?
I didn't, because I just did one. I was like,
I reckon we should give it a go because I imagine that the cutter would make beautiful lemon slices and then they'd be really easy to dehydrate.
They wouldn't take as long because it'd be nice and thin. And I
Yeah.
put some nice roast pickles on there too. And I just think that looks like super flat.
That is beautiful. I love that. So we've got some really great suggestions coming up in the chat box. And so there you have it, guys. We've made lemon curd. We've made chocolate hazelnut spread. You've seen a frozen negroni. You've seen Paula's amazing lemon meringue pie cocktail. And you've seen the boozy bunny. If you didn't get the recipes beforehand, then please reach out to your consultant or to whoever invited you on tonight, because I'm sure they would love to share those recipes with you. Hopefully it's inspired you. I know we have a lot of owners on tonight. I'm not sure if we've got any non-owners or any TM31 owners lurking who just don't want to draw attention to themselves. But for those people who are lurking, or anybody who watches this recording later on, I'm just going to let you know that until the 31st of March, we have a few amazing deals happening in Thermomix World. We have 36 months interest free. So I think for about, is it $17.73 or something like that, you can add a new TM6 to your kitchen. You can also add a cutter for just $99. They are going to retail at $199 and they're not available yet to buy. So you will be the envy of all your friends. So that's our amazing deal for our new owners. We also have a trade up offer for our TM31 customers. You'll get $300 discount off of your TM6 and you get a free cutter. So that's almost $500 value. So really great offers happening at the moment. So if you have a friend who may be interested or you yourself want more information, please reach out to your consultant. They're always happy to help. If you're keen to see the Thermomix again, virtually or in person, definitely reach out to your consultant or to the team leader for your area, because we'd love to come and cook with you. We love it. It fills our cups. Thank you for hopping on, everybody, and cooking with us tonight. We will release the recording if you want to share it with anybody. But yeah, it's been lots and lots of fun. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add everybody on a spotlight so we can do a big cheers. Lonnie, you have to cheers with a bottle of lemon curd, unfortunately. But yeah, we've really enjoyed having you. So yeah, cheers, guys. Have an amazing evening. And we do have another virtual coming up on Sunday. We're going to be cooking Easter. So we'd love to have you. Reach out to your consultant for registration details, but have an amazing evening.
Thank you. Cheers.
Yes.
See you later, guys.
Bye. Thanks for jumping on.